Why do you smile at me?
Because you're my tiny queen.
Why do you smile at me?
Because you're my tiny queen.
Why do you smile at me?
Because you're my tiny queen.
Devon Cross had traveled across 17 star systems, negotiated with 12 different species, and survived 3 diplomatic incidents that nearly started wars. Yet nothing prepared him for the moment Princess Tavia of Kessera walked into the greeting hall of Aurora Haven Station. She moved like water flowing uphill, defying gravity with each graceful step. Her skin shimmered with an ethereal blue glow that pulsed softly with her heartbeat. Silver patterns traced along her arms like living tattoos, shifting and swirling with her emotions. Her eyes were the color of deep space, dark purple with flecks of starlight that seemed to hold entire galaxies. She stood barely 5 feet tall, delicate and perfect, yet carried herself with the authority of someone who commanded entire worlds. Devon forgot every diplomatic protocol he had ever learned. He simply stood there and smiled. It was not a calculated diplomatic smile. It was genuine, warm, the kind of smile that came from somewhere deep in the chest. The kind of smile that said he had just seen something wonderful. Princess Tavia stopped mid-step. Her silver patterns flared bright blue, then settled into rapid swirling motions across her arms. She stared at him with wide eyes, clearly startled. Behind her, the Kesseran guards tensed, hands moving to their energy staffs. The human delegation leader, Ambassador Yuki Tanaka, coughed loudly and stepped forward. "Your Highness, may I present Devon Cross, our new cultural liaison officer." Devon bowed, still smiling. "It is an honor to meet you, Princess." Tavia's voice came out softer than expected, almost musical. "You smile at me, human. Why do you smile?" Devon blinked. "Because meeting you makes me happy, Your Highness." The translator devices everyone wore buzzed with confusion. Several Kesseran officials exchanged worried glances. One of the guards whispered urgently into a communication device. Tavia took a small step back, her silver patterns now glowing bright pink. Humans smile so easily. This is not proper. "I apologize if I offended you," Devon said, though his smile did not fade. "Where I come from, smiling is how we show respect and kindness." "Among my people," Tavia said carefully, "smiling at royalty without permission is considered either a challenge or a declaration." Ambassador Tanaka grabbed Devon's arm. "Perhaps we should continue this welcome ceremony with proper formal introductions." But Devon could not look away from the tiny alien princess. Something about her captivated him completely. The way her patterns shifted colors. The way her eyes held both curiosity and caution. The way she stood so tall despite her small frame. Tavia seemed equally unable to look away. Her patterns cycled through blue, pink, and silver in rapid succession. Finally, she nodded once. "Yes. Formal introductions. That would be wise." The ceremony continued with proper diplomatic language and carefully rehearsed speeches. But every time Devon caught Tavia's eye, he smiled. And every time he smiled, her patterns flared pink, and she quickly looked away. Over the next 3 days, Aurora Haven Station became their strange dance floor. Devon attended every meeting, every cultural exchange, every diplomatic dinner. And at each event, he found himself drawn to wherever Tavia was. On the second day, he found her in the botanical gardens, studying earth flowers that had been brought to the station. She bent close to smell a rose, her nose wrinkling at the unexpected scent. "They smell stronger than they look," Devon said softly, not wanting to startle her. She straightened quickly. Her patterns shifted to pale blue. "Ambassador Cross. I did not hear you approach." "Just Devon, please. I am not really an ambassador. More of a cultural student." "A student who smiles too much," she said, but there was no anger in her voice. Devon moved closer, standing beside her near the rose bush. "On my world, we have a saying. A smile is the universal language." "On my world," Tavia replied, "a smile directed at royalty means you wish to court them." Devon turned to face her fully. "Then perhaps I am using the right language after all." Tavia's entire body glowed bright pink. Her patterns swirled so rapidly they became almost dizzying to watch. She opened her mouth, closed it, then opened it again. You cannot say such things, Devon Cross. Why not? Because I am a princess. Because you are human. Because there are rules, ancient rules, about how royalty may be approached. Her voice grew softer with each word. Devon took one small step closer. They were nearly the same height now, with her standing on the slightly elevated garden path. What if I do not care about ancient rules? Then you are foolish, she whispered. Probably, he agreed, smiling again. She made a small sound, something between a gasp and a laugh. You do it again. That smile. Do you know what it does to me? Tell me. Tavia looked down at her hands, watching her own patterns pulse and shift. It makes my heart beat too fast. It makes my patterns show colors I should keep hidden. It makes me think thoughts that a princess should never think. What kind of thoughts? She met his eyes then, and Devon saw something raw and honest there. Thoughts about what it would be like to have someone smile at me like that every day. Not because I am a princess. Not because of duty. But because they want to. Devon reached out slowly, giving her time to move away. When she did not, he let his fingertips hover just above her hand. Not touching, but close enough that she could feel the warmth of his skin. What if I told you, he said softly, that I want to smile at you every day? That when I see you, something inside me feels complete. I would say you are dangerous, Tavia breathed. More dangerous than any weapon my people have ever created. Because I smile. Because you make me want to smile back. They stood like that for a long moment, nearly touching but not quite, two people from different worlds held together by something neither could name. Finally, Tavia pulled her hand away. I should return to my quarters. Tomorrow there are more meetings. Will you be there? Devon asked. I must be. It is my duty. Then I will look forward to it. She started to walk away, then paused and looked back at him. Devon Cross. Yes, Your Highness. Today, in this garden, you may call me Tavia. Just Tavia. Before he could respond, she hurried away, her silver patterns glowing soft pink in the artificial twilight of the garden dome. Devon stood there long after she left, touching the rose she had been examining, and realized something terrifying and wonderful. He was falling in love with an alien princess. A tiny, perfect, impossible alien princess. And from the way her patterns had glowed, she might be falling too. The question was not whether they felt something. The question was whether feeling something would be enough when ancient rules and entire civilizations stood between them. But as Devon walked back to his quarters that night, he found himself smiling still. Because for the first time in his life, he had found someone worth breaking rules for. Someone worth fighting for. His tiny alien queen, even if she did not know it yet. The morning after the garden encounter, Tavia stood before her mirror in the royal quarters, trying to calm her patterns. They kept shifting to pink whenever she thought about Devon, which was far too often. Her attendant, an elderly Kesseran named Myra, noticed immediately. Your Highness, your emotions are showing, Myra said gently, adjusting the flowing silver robes that marked Tavia's royal status. I am aware, Tavia replied, forcing her patterns back to neutral blue. The human, Myra said knowingly. The one who smiles. Tavia's patterns flared pink again. She sighed in defeat. He does not understand our ways. Or perhaps, Myra suggested carefully, he understands something we have forgotten. That hearts do not care about protocols. Before Tavia could respond, her communication device chimed. Another diplomatic meeting. Another chance to see Devon. Her patterns betrayed her excitement, swirling with anticipation. The conference room was filled with officials from both worlds. Trade agreements, cultural exchanges, technology sharing, all topics that should have held Tavia's full attention. Instead, she found her gaze drifting across the table to where Devon sat, taking notes on a date. Appeared as if sensing her stare, he looked up and smiled. That same warm, genuine smile that made her heart race. Her chief advisor, Lord Kenton, cleared his throat loudly. Princess Tavia, your opinion on the proposed medical exchange program. She had not heard a single word about any medical program. I trust your judgment, Lord Kenton. His eyes narrowed slightly. He knew she was distracted. Worse, he knew why. After the meeting, Tavia tried to leave quickly, but Devon caught up with her in the corridor. Your Highness, wait. She stopped, her guards stopping with her. They stood at respectful distances, but their presence made private conversation impossible. I wanted to thank you, Devon said, for yesterday. For letting me see Tavia instead of just the princess. That was inappropriate, she said, but her voice held no conviction. Most of the best things are. Lord Kenton emerged from the conference room, his expression dark. Princess, your mother the Empress wishes to speak with you immediately. Tavia's patterns paled. Did she say why? I believe you know why, Your Highness. As Tavia was led away by her entourage, she glanced back at Devon one last time. He stood alone in the corridor, watching her go, that smile finally fading from his face. The Empress appeared on the holographic display in Tavia's quarters, her presence commanding even across light years of space. She looked like an older, sterner version of Tavia, her patterns locked in rigid silver lines that never wavered. Daughter, I have received concerning reports. Mother, I can explain. Can you explain why you allowed a human to address you by your personal name? Why your patterns have been displaying courtship colors in his presence? Why you abandoned protocol in a garden dome? Tavia felt like a child again, small and powerless before her mother's authority. He makes me happy, Mother. Is that such a terrible thing? Happiness is not the measure of a princess, the Empress said coldly. Duty is. Honor is. You have been matched with Prince Voran of the Northern Territories since birth. That alliance cannot be broken for a human smile. I do not love Voran. Love is irrelevant. You are not a common citizen free to follow feelings. You are a princess. You belong to your people first. After the communication ended, Tavia sat alone in her quarters, her patterns flickering through colors she could not control. Sadness, anger, longing, all swirling across her skin like a storm. A soft chime at her door. She almost ignored it, but something made her answer. Devon stood there, alone, without guards or escorts. Your attendant, Myra, let me pass. She said you needed a friend. You should not be here. If anyone sees you. I do not care who sees me. He stepped inside, and the door closed behind him. Tavia, what happened? She turned away, not wanting him to see her patterns in such chaos. My mother knows about us. About the garden. About everything. There is an us. Devon asked softly, hopefully. There cannot be. I am promised to another. It was decided before I was born. Her voice cracked. This, whatever this is between us, it must end. Devon crossed the room until he stood behind her. Close, but not touching. What if I told you I am falling in love with you? Her patterns flared brilliant pink, then red, then colors she had never displayed before. Do not say such things. Why not? They are true. Because they make everything harder. She spun to face him, tears glowing silver on her blue cheeks. Because I am falling in love with you too, and it is impossible. The confession hung between them like a living thing. Devon's expression shifted from hope to determination. Then we make it possible. You do not understand our world. The rules, the traditions, they are not suggestions. They are law. If I break my betrothal, it could cause political chaos. Wars have started over less. Then we do not break it. Not yet. We prove first that what we have is worth fighting for. We show them that love between our species is not weakness but strength. Tavia shook her head. You speak of romance like a dreamer. But reality is harsher. Devon took her small hands in his larger ones. The touch sent electricity through both of them. Her patterns exploded into rainbow colors, cycling through every emotion at once. I am looking at you, Devon said intensely. This tiny, perfect, incredible woman who happens to be from another world. And I am telling you that I will fight for this. For us. I will face your empress, your betrothed, your entire empire if I must. Because when I see you, when I hold your hands like this, I know I have found something people search whole lifetimes for. You are insane, she whispered. Probably. Is it working? A laugh burst from her, unexpected and free. You are absolutely the most frustrating human I have ever met. I will take that as a compliment. She looked down at their joined hands. In Kesseran culture, hand-holding was more intimate than kissing. It was soul touching soul. If we do this, if we try, it will not be easy. My people will fight us. Your people might too. Let them fight. I have something they do not. What is that? You, Devon said simply. My tiny queen. Her patterns settled into the softest, warmest pink he had ever seen on her. I am not your queen. Not yet. But you could be. Queen of my heart, if nothing else. Tavia rose on her toes and did something forbidden, dangerous, and absolutely right. She pressed her forehead to his, the most intimate gesture in Kesseran culture, reserved only for true soulmates. Then we fight together, she whispered against his skin. But know this, Devon Cross. If this fails, if we lose, I will still never regret meeting the human who smiled at me like I was more than a crown. And I will never regret loving the alien princess who taught me that smiling can be a revolution. They stayed like that, forehead to forehead, as the station's artificial day faded to night outside her window. Two hearts beating as one across the vast distance between species. Two souls deciding that some rules were worth breaking. Tomorrow would bring challenges. But tonight, they had each other. And somehow, that felt like enough to face anything. The summons came 3 days later. Prince Voron himself was arriving at Aurora Haven Station, along with a full delegation from the Northern Territories. The Empress had decided to force the issue. Tavia stood at the docking bay beside Lord Kenton and her guards, her patterns locked in formal silver. Devon watched from the observation deck above, his hands pressed against the glass. Prince Voron emerged from his ship, tall and broad by Kesseran standards, his patterns displaying confident gold. He was handsome in the traditional way, all sharp angles and proper bearing. When he saw Tavia, he smiled, but it was nothing like Devon's smiles. It was calculated, practiced, political. My betrothed, Voron said, taking Tavia's hand formally. You look as radiant as the star charts promised. Prince Voron, welcome to Aurora Haven. His eyes swept the station, landing on the human delegation. I see we are entertaining the newcomers. How quaint. That night, a formal banquet was held. Devon was required to attend as part of the cultural exchange program. He sat at the far end of the table while Voron sat beside Tavia, speaking loudly about his accomplishments, his territories, his importance. Tavia's patterns remained dull silver throughout the meal. She barely ate. Every time she glanced toward Devon, Voron would pull her attention back with another story about himself. During the dancing portion of the evening, Voron claimed the first 3 dances with Tavia as was his right. Devon watched from the sidelines, his jaw tight. Ambassador Tanaka approached him. You look like you want to start an interstellar incident. Maybe I do. Devon, I know what is happening between you and the princess. Half the station knows. But you need to be careful. This is bigger than romance. This is politics. Since when did we let politics decide who people can love? Since always, unfortunately. When the music shifted to a slower rhythm, Devon made his decision. He walked across the dance floor, past gasping diplomats and shocked guards, directly to where Voron held Tavia. May I cut in? The room went silent. Voron's patterns flared aggressive orange. You dare interrupt a royal dance? I dare, Devon said calmly. Unless the princess objects. All eyes turned to Tavia. Her patterns were cycling rapidly, fear mixed with hope. This was the moment. She could follow rules, accept Voron, live the safe expected life. Or she could take Devon's hand and change everything. I do not object, she said quietly, then louder, I welcome it. Voron's patterns turned deep red. Tavia, this is unacceptable. Then I am unacceptable, she replied, stepping away from him and taking Devon's hand. The music continued, uncertain. Devon pulled Tavia into his arms, closer than protocol allowed, and began to move with her across the floor. You just destroyed your political future, she whispered. Our political future, he corrected. I told you I would fight for us. This is not fighting. This is declaring war. Then let it be war. Voron stormed off the dance floor. Lord Kenton looked apoplectic. But Devon and Tavia kept dancing, her patterns gradually shifting from fearful blue to that beautiful warm pink. What happens now? She asked. Now we face whatever comes. Together. What came was swift and severe. The next morning, the Empress herself arrived at Aurora Haven Station aboard the royal flagship. She demanded a private meeting with Tavia, Devon, and Prince Voron. They stood in the station's formal chamber, the Empress's hologram towering above them all. She looked at her daughter with disappointment and Devon with barely concealed contempt. You have embarrassed your family, the Empress said to Tavia. You have broken centuries of tradition for a human who knows nothing of our ways. Mother, I love him. Love is a luxury you cannot afford. Devon stepped forward. Your Majesty, with respect, love is the only thing any of us can afford. You built an empire on strength and tradition. But what good is an empire if the people in it are miserable? You do not understand our culture, human. You are right. I do not understand how a culture that values honor and truth can force someone to marry without love. I do not understand how patterns that show emotions so clearly can be ignored when they reveal genuine feelings. And I do not understand how you can look at your daughter, see her happiness with me, and call it weakness. The Empress's patterns flickered, just for a moment. You speak boldly for someone with no position, no title, no worth to offer a princess. I offer her something your prince cannot. A choice. A future built on truth instead of obligation. And yes, love. So much love that I would cross galaxies for her. That I would stand before empresses and princes and declare it without shame. Voron sneered. Love fades. Political alliances last forever. Then you have never truly loved, Devon shot back. Tavia moved to stand beside Devon, taking his hand openly. Mother, I know I am your daughter. I know I carry the responsibility of our bloodline. But I am also a person with a heart that chooses its own path. Devon makes me want to be better, stronger, braver. With Voron, I would be a dutiful wife and a proper princess. With Devon, I could be everything I am meant to be. And what of the alliance with the Northern Territories? The Empress demanded. Perhaps, Ambassador Tanaka interjected carefully, there are other ways to build alliances. Technology sharing, trade agreements, cultural exchanges. The humans can offer things the Northern Territories cannot. The Empress studied them all with ancient eyes. Finally, she spoke to Voron. What say you, Prince? Will you fight for a woman who does not want you? Voron's patterns cycled through anger, pride, and finally resignation. I will not beg for affection. If she chooses the human, then our families will renegotiate terms. But know this, he looked at Devon. You have won a princess. Do not make her regret it. I will spend every day making sure she never does, Devon promised. The Empress was quiet for a long time. Then, surprisingly, her patterns softened slightly. Tavia, when I was young, before I was Empress, I loved someone my family did not approve of. I chose duty. I have wondered my entire life what might have been. She paused. Perhaps it is time our people learned that strength comes in many forms, including the strength to follow your heart. Tavia's patterns exploded into brilliant, joyful colors. Mother, do you mean it? I mean you may explore this connection. But, her voice hardened, you must prove to our people that this human is worthy. That this love is real and lasting. You will face opposition. You will face judgment. Can you withstand it? Tavia looked at Devon, who squeezed her hand. With him, I can withstand anything. Then you have my blessing. conditional and cautious, but a blessing nonetheless. After the Empress's hologram faded, Tavia threw herself into Devon's arms. He lifted her tiny frame off the ground, spinning her as her patterns danced with colors of pure happiness. "We did it," she laughed against his shoulder. "We actually did it." "We did," Devon agreed, setting her down gently. "But this is just the beginning. Your mother was right. We will have to prove ourselves." Then we prove ourselves. Every single day. 6 months later, Aurora Haven Station hosted the first human Kesseran bonding ceremony. Tavia wore robes that combined human white and Kesseran silver. Devon wore a suit with Kesseran patterns embroidered on it. When they joined hands, her patterns glowed brilliant pink mixed with gold, the traditional colors of eternal bonding. The Empress attended, her patterns showing approval. Prince Voran sent a gift, a star chart showing the constellation where Aurora Haven sat, with a note that read, "May you find the happiness I could not give her." As Devon and Tavia stood before their joined people, he leaned down and whispered, "Why do I smile at you?" She smiled back, freely and openly, something she had learned from him. "Because I am your tiny queen." "Forever," he promised. "Forever," she agreed. And in that moment, 2 worlds became one. Not through conquest or politics, but through something far more powerful. 2 hearts that refused to let distance, difference, or duty keep them apart. 2 souls that proved love was not weakness but the greatest strength of all. Years later, when ambassadors asked Devon what made him fight so hard for an alien princess, his answer was always simple. Because when you find someone who makes you believe in impossible things, you hold on. You fight. You never let go. She asked why I smiled at her. The truth is, she gave me a reason to smile for the rest of my life. And Tavia, now Devon's wife and a bridge between 2 civilizations, would add, he taught our people that rules are important. But love, real love, is the rule that matters most. Their story became legend across both worlds. The human who dared to smile at a princess. The princess brave enough to smile back. And the love that changed the galaxy, one smile at a time.